Good afternoon. Hello. If everyone can kind of try to make it to their seats right now, you'll have plenty of time to go back and visit the tables. That would be lovely. My name is Lynn Drinkwater, and I am the SEC Program Coordinator here at the Moore County Department of Aging at the Senior Enrichment Center. And I just want to thank you all for coming. This is such wonderful information, and it always excites me when people want to learn, especially before a crisis mode should happen, and then you don't know where to begin. So I was approached about a month and a half ago by a good friend with Department of Social Services, Emily, and she said, we would love to do a lunch and learn where we all get a chance to speak about the services that we provide seniors in Moore County. And so I jumped at the chance for that because so many people ask us questions. There's a lot that the staff here doesn't know, so it gives us more information when we're dealing with people. Because what we like to do is when a person comes to ask us help for a service, say it's Medicare or whatever the service might be, family caregiving for respite care, we like to ask some questions and then provide them resources for the services in the area. So we work very closely with other county departments just so that if one person is coming in and they have a need, odds are they might have another need. So we want to make sure that all the other needs are met. We ask them questions like, do you have a question about veterans services and things like that? So how many people are here for the very first time? Oh, yay, okay. Well, I just want to let you know, if you go out the front doors here, came in, and to the left are where the restrooms are, in case you need that. I hope before you leave, you pick up a newsletter. I see you have a newsletter and some calendars. It's free to come here as long as you're a Moore County resident and you're 50 and older. You can come here. I refer to it as the Boys and Girls Club for people over 50 because you can come and drop in and have tons of activities and fun things like this. And we also we all work for the county, the Moore County Department of Aging. So all of us have services that we provide, but we also run the Senior Enrichment Center. So we're 2 in 1. So I'm going to introduce the very first speaker for today, Shonda Malloy, and thank you so much for coming. Do you want to hold it or do you want to stand? And I just want to say that I didn't introduce you as what your title is because I'd love for you to introduce yourself with the title, since I know people's names and faces, but I don't know exactly their titles for what they do. So this is a good learning experience for everybody. So thank you. You're welcome.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, taking time out of your day to come hear the information we have to offer. And I'd like to give Lynn and her Senior Enrichment Center team a big thank you for coordinating this for us in the community. Just a couple FYIs. We will be recognizing Elder Abuse Month the month of June. June 15th is Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and we will be throughout that month doing a couple things. You might see purple pinwheels out at some places, and if you see those, just know that's us. I'll give you a little bit overview of the team we have at Moore County Department of Social Services. Our team includes have positions for 3 assessment workers, which these workers go out into the field and they assess the reports that we get in. I have 1 vacancy. We have mobilization services, and these 3 workers facilitate those services as well. We have placement services, where we assist persons with getting placed in facilities. We have guardianship services, where we are ordered by the court to become a person's legal guardian or person. Special assistance in-home services. This is where we are able to provide case management and assist persons with funds in order for them to be able to stay safely in their homes. We also have a service where we monitor 11 facilities here in the county. And we also, the facility worker also does our unclaimed bodies. Each of those workers will be coming up after me and explaining their role in more detail. Within adult protective services, we have some basic principles. When we're working with clients, they have a right to self-determination. They are to be treated with honesty, caring, and respect. The least restrictive alternatives should be used whenever possible, and we give the highest priority to the family and other normal support systems and resources as appropriate, because these persons know these individuals better than we do. We try to provide protection of disabled adults as a shared community responsibility, hence our reaching out to like Senior Enrichment Center, the hospitals, law enforcement, and other agencies. The emphasis in APS is always on the need for protective services rather than investigation of the incidents. The client's confidentiality and right to privacy should always be respected. Our roles start when a reporter calls in to make a report. We receive the information. The information is screened. It is made, the information is screened and a screening decision is made. That's based on if the adult that the person is reporting on is considered a disabled adult. A disabled adult is any person age 18 or over who resides in the state of North Carolina who is physically or mentally incapacitated due to an intellectual or developmental disability like cerebral palsy, epilepsy, or autism, or they have organic brain damage. The adult must be alleged to be incapacitated due to a disability or to be considered in order to be considered a disabled adult. We accept the reports on abuse, caretaker neglect, self-neglect, exploitation of assets, and exploitation of persons. An abused adult is somebody that has been willfully inflicted injury or harm by a caretaker of physical pain, injury, psychological harm, mental anguish, deprivation of goods, services. Caretaker neglect is somebody that the caretaker has the comprehensive responsibility for the care of the disabled adult as a result of family relationship. They have the responsibility to care the disabled adult voluntarily or by contract. It could be a family member, a friend, a neighbor who is informally assumed or been given comprehensive responsibility for ensuring that the disabled adult's needs are met, which may include making decisions for that adult. A caretaker is also considered like a nursing or residential care facility, state mental hospital, substance abuse facility, or an individual organization that has been appointed the general guardian or person, guardian over state, over a disabled adult. When we look at neglect, the neglect for self-neglect refers to a disabled adult who is not receiving essential food, clothing, shelter, medical care, obtaining goods and services necessary to maintain physical, mental health, and general safety, or managing their own financial affairs. Again, caretaker neglect is failure for the caretaker to they're either the guardian, power of attorney, and they're neglecting to provide that person with goods or service necessary to for them to remain healthy and safe in in their environment. When it comes to exploitation, we look at exploitation of assets and exploitation of persons. Exploitation of assets is some adult that has been deemed to be disabled, and their person's assets, finances are being exploited, like their bills aren't being paid because someone's taking their money. Exploitation of person would be an adult being exploited for sexual activity to uncompensated work. And we determine if they're in need in the protective services because we're looking at meeting their essential needs. And essential needs are medical, physical, psychiatric, psychological, legal services, medical care, mental health, assistance with personal hygiene, food, clothing, adequately heated, ventilated shelter, protection for health and safety hazards, protection for physical mistreatment, and protection from exploitation. I'm now going to turn it over to the next speaker, June Blue, and she's going to explain her role. She's also going to be explaining the role of, you'll see the worker Shanice McCray listed there. She had to go out and initiate a report, so June is going to take her place as well.
Hello, everyone. So, let me tell you what I do. And it's quite interesting. It's like an adventure every day. So, my main job is what my supervisor referred to as an evaluator, an assessor, basically an investigator. When I'm assigned a report, which has been screened in for abuse, neglect, or exploitation, then I go out and make an evaluation of the situation or an investigation. I'm going to probably use those terms interchangeably. So the first thing I do is I go out and I attempt to make contact with the person involved. And I do just show up at their house, but my personality is such that I show up pretty much like their neighbor, which I am their neighbor. I just happen to work for DSS and I just happen to be responding to a report. I've had really good results with that type of interaction. So I go out, I do an evaluation, which is I sit down with the adult, I ask them about the allegations in the report, and just FYI, our reports are anonymous, which means we don't share who called in the report. So that is, information that stays with DSS. So I sit down, I discuss the allegations in the report, and the adult will say, well, yeah, that's about right, or no, that's just totally false. Now, believe it or not, we do get reports with completely false allegations. So, I try to keep it friendly. I try to treat people like I would like to be treated, and I can say that everyone on our team does the same thing. We don't go out in an accusatory manner. We go out as a neighbor. We go out to check on people and make sure that, if they do have a need, we can attempt to assist them in resolving an issue or meeting a need. So now let me back up. So the North Carolina General Statutes set forth what we can and cannot do. And it tells us step by step what we should do. And I'm referring to North Carolina General Statute 108A. So we have a guideline that we have to follow, and we do follow those guidelines. So I meet with the adult, discuss their situation after we discuss the allegations in the report, and if there is a need, we figure out how we can resolve that. Sometimes there isn't a need, so I make another visit or two just to check in, make sure that everything is as the adult has stated it is, and then I close my case. I'm done. I might see them in the grocery store. So the other thing I want to say about my job as an evaluator is, and this is what my supervisor said, a person has the right to say, get out of my house. Okay. So, DSS is not all encompassing. We don't have this authority that we can go in and point our finger and make people do things. That's not the way it works at all. We do attempt to work with the adult, but at the end of the day, the adult, they can make bad decisions. I mean, that's their right. That's their constitutional right to make what I might consider a bad decision. But if they don't lack capacity, and we do assess capacity, if they don't lack capacity, they have the right to live their life according to how they see fit. And I'm a big advocate for constitutional rights because, let's be honest, I'm 60 years old. I don't want anybody infringing on my rights. I'm not about to infringe on anybody else's. So I do try to keep it friendly. I do try to keep it helpful. I'm honest. I'm transparent with my clients, and so is the rest of my team. I think that builds relationships. I think it also opens up the door for in the future, if an adult has an issue, they can give us a call and they can say, hey, this has come up, how can you help me? And, then we go from there. So at the end of my evaluation, which I have 30 to 45 days to complete my evaluation, 30 days if it does not involve exploitation, 45 days if it does involve exploitation. So at the end of my case, we're going to decide if it'll be confirmed if the allegations were true, or if it's going to be unconfirmed and the allegations were not true. So if at the end of my case, the allegations are confirmed, then we offer the next level of intervention, which we call it essential services or planning and mobilization. I do that also, but my coworker, Shanice McCrae, she was going to speak to that, but I'm going to be speaking on her behalf. So that is a voluntary service. Okay. The next level, which is the essential services, the adult can say, nope, don't want it, roll on. And we have to respect that. And we do respect that. We do make every effort to try to encourage an adult to allow us to provide essential services. But if they say, no, I don't want it, we respect that and we have to close their case. Now, what essential services is, it's a service that connects the individual with essential services. That might be some type of medical care that they're not getting that they could. It could be housing. It could be placement in a facility, which we would work with them until it went to the next level, which would be placement services. And I have another colleague who handles that. The person could be retired, but they want a part-time job. We would try to assist them in helping them with that. They might be in need of some type of personal care service, some type of in-home assistance, and we would assist them in getting that put into place. Basically, the purpose of essential services is to continue to be involved with this person to make sure that whatever happened to get us involved doesn't continue to happen. So we just try to assist them in making sure they're safe in their home, making sure that they're as active in the community as they choose to be, and just trying to assist them in getting any services that they might be interested in, or they might can articulate what they need, but not know exactly what that's called. And then we're going to assist them in putting that service into place if at all possible. So once that is, and we have a service plan during that phase, and we write down on the service plan what the adult's looking for and what we're going to try to assist them in getting put into place before we close our case. Now, there's not really a specific timeline for essential services. It can last anywhere from 30 to 60 to 90 days. It just depends on, how quickly we can assist the adult in getting those services into place. So once the services are put into place, then we would close our case. And then that would be the end of the essential services on our part. So I just want to encourage you that if you have a neighbor or you have a need, or you see that your neighbor is being mistreated, or you see that your neighbor is neglecting themselves in a way that makes their situation unsafe, then I would encourage you to call us and make a report. And again, I want to just reiterate and emphasize that our reports are anonymous. Your neighbor's not going to know that it was you that called. But now we'll put a disclaimer on that. If that person is someone who you're the only person they see every day, they're going to figure it out. I mean, people are, they're going to know. So anyway, anytime we can help you or assist you with any kind of information, please feel free to give us a call. We all will have business cards to give at the end of the presentation. Please feel free to pick them up. Thank you.
Thanks, June. So I'm Lorena Edwards, and I am the guardianship social worker with Moore County Department of Social Services. So my job or role can come in two ways. One is after, as a result of an APS report being accepted, and they found that the adult lacked capacity in certain areas of their lives where they can no longer make decisions, and they petition the court for guardianship. So that's when I get involved. What I like for our social workers to do is to find a family member or friend that knows the adult better than I would because they have some type of rapport, relationship, and to recommend that that person be the appointed guardian of the person. If they cannot do that by statute, as June stated, DSS will be appointed guardian, which can change because we can always transfer that guardianship to a family or friend because my role is to find someone else to transfer it to other than a disinterested public agent, and that is what DSS is considered to be. The other way that I will be consulted, if you as family members think that you have a family member or friend, again, who lacks capacity in certain areas of their lives, want to sit down and we're going to do a guardianship plan. So what you would do is come to DSS or call me, and I'll look at the concerns that you have. And most of the time, we like to say go the least restrictive way, which is POA. But if that doesn't work, then we're going to sit down and formulate a plan on how legally you're going to be put over this person to make decisions for them. So that's mostly my role, and again, guardianship. And so what I do is case management. I attend appointments. I manage that adult life so that I can report back to my director or the program manager, who by law is the one that makes those decisions for the adult and let them know what is going on in this adult lives, where they live, medical, mental health, just everything about their day-to-day life. So that is pretty much for me. If you have any questions, I'll be in the back. I know, or I can answer them now if anyone have any questions about guardianship. Yes, ma'am. So with that dementia diagnosis, it's kind of broad because it all depends on where at in their, diagnosis. Because some people just have a little bit of memory loss, but still are aware and alert of what's going on. But if it's advanced and severe and they have no idea, then that is probably the road. Yes, ma'am. Guardianship is probably the route we're going to take. Okay. I think someone else, you had a question, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. That's all right. So, okay, so what she's saying is that it's just her and her spouse, and that they don't have any family here in the county with them. And so they're trying to see what they can do in the event that something happens to one or the other and someone needs to make decisions on that person's behalf. Is there an alternative way that they can go besides guardianship? And the POA would be that, and also it's your spouse, so they can make decisions for you or you for him. And something happened. Okay, so if one of them dies and you don't have anyone else put in place, and we get a report that you are not making good decisions for yourself and APS goes out, you probably will end up with me. Yes, but you can do a friend. I mean, it doesn't have to be a family member. So if you form some friendships in the community, a friend can be your POA. Yes, ma'am. It does not have to be a family member, because with me, I have someone that they go to a church and their church family or that pastor may know them better than me. But I have to also know that when we're doing this plan, they know your life, they know your wishes. Like if you're not a person that donates blood or blood transfusions and medications, and because with us, the end of life decisions is the hardest to do because your friend or your spouse is going to know you better than me. I'm going to listen to them and take medical recommendations, but if you've discussed this, like with my husband, he knows I want to be cremated, you know, and or I don't want to be on breathing machines or whatever. So all of that is out. With us, we're going to leave you on there until the doctor recommends, you know, even though it's your wish and you're not able to communicate. But if you're able to communicate with that to me once we start the guardianship, then I do take that down and let the director know that these are her wishes, and we try to respect, you know, people's wishes and the family.
And I just wanted to jump in and say two other things too. One is for power of attorney. Actually, elder law attorneys can be a power of attorney.
Right.
So if you have nobody in your community or nobody in your family, the actual attorney who's writing the
POA.
actual will or whatever
Yeah.
you have, the living will,
Living
the
will,
trust,
yeah.
the, before we go into that, because I really don't have information on that, I also just wanted to jump in and say, as far as an advanced directive goes, there are advanced directives out there that you can take care of all these questions about
Right.
your wishes ahead of time. You can do that at First Health and Hospice used to be here, over here, and where the hospice house is. They actually every April have an advanced directives fair where you get the paperwork, you fill it out. Fox Hollow, Robin, you have information on your table? We'll get it from Alvita in the back there and put it on the tape. What's that? April the 11th, you can come to Fox Hollow and actually get the paperwork for the advanced directives that you fill out. Once you fill them out, there is a day for the actual fair. It's a drive-through. You go over to where the hospice house is, and there will be people set up as volunteers, and there'll be a notary. And we will actually have it notarized. You just sit in the car, you give us the paperwork, we do the rest. You can drive right out, and now you've got an actual document that has been notarized and signed, witnessed, and now you can bring a copy for the doctors or the hospital and things like that. Oh, okay. So it's going to be at Fox Hollow. Okay. Well, Alvita just went to get the paperwork. She'll have it on Fox Hollow's table back here. And just a quick shout out to all of the sponsors for today's lovely lunch. Have tables back here. I know many of you visited them before the event. They have got door prizes for afterwards, and then you can visit them again. But thank you so much, and I'm sorry to jump in. I
Yes.
just wanted to throw those two pieces of information out.
And I did want to also make it clear that, because some people think that guardianship, you have to take the person home with them and be their caregiver. That's not what it's about. You're just that surrogate decision maker. So because they've been found to not understand, you know, I may need to go into a assisted living, or if they can set up services for me. So legally, we just don't want people taking advantage of them, and they're just signing things away and don't realize what they're signing. So you're just that surrogate decision maker. You don't have to take them home with you. If they're in a facility or you would like to place them in the facility, it does give you the authority to do that. And that's guardian of the person, because there are different types of guardianship. We have guardian of the person, guardian of the estate, general guardian, which they do the person and the finances. But DSS, we're mostly guardian of the person. And the money, we try to get a GOE for someone to watch over those funds or finances for that person. So again, it doesn't mean you have to take them home, just that you're legally been appointed to make decisions on their behalf as a surrogate decision maker. And one more question, yes, ma'am? So 31 and state stat 26, we have 3 possibly coming on, but state guidelines is 30 per social worker. And they're saying it's going to be an influx of that due to the young adults with IDD and not making good decisions, and they're wanting the parents to be over them. It's just a lot, but mostly my people range from age 35 and up. So I do have some young people. intellectual, intellectual development, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry for using acronyms. So, yeah. 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 Any other questions? So I'll be at the back also with some cards and any questions anyone that may not want to ask out loud. Thank you.
Hello, all. My name is Emily Lauder, and I am adult services social worker as well. Briefly, I'll talk about one of my responsibilities is I do something called outreaches, and this is when the reports that they talked about that get screened in and get assigned to a social worker because they met that criteria set by the state. If they don't meet that criteria, but we feel like maybe we need to see what's going on or can offer some resources to that person, I go out and I will do that and just kind of do like connect with that person, see what's going on, give them resources, educate them about things that exist in the community that they may not know about. So that is something I do that kind of ties into the investigation piece. My primary job is a program called Special Assistance in-Home. On our table back there, there's a little flyer that explains this program. So if you have questions or whatever, you can reference that. So this program is geared to help people stay safely in their home. So if it's for older adults over 65 or people that have been deemed disabled by the Social Security Administration, and your doctor says, hey, I would recommend that you need a rest home level of care or adult home care, which is like assisted living, but you want to stay in your house. Or you could already be in a setting like that, in assisted living, but you want to go back home. So this program is geared to help you keep you safe in your home. It's for lower income adults, and basically you apply with Medicaid and they assess assets, income, all of that stuff to see about eligibility. But what the program does is it gives you additional money each month, and that money is intended to help meet your basic needs. We do not dictate what the money is spent on, but basically it's just, whether you use it for rent. I have people that pay for caregivers, whatever you feel like your need is to meet all your essential needs to keep you safely at home. That's what this program is geared toward. And I'm going to say safety a lot because that's the whole basis of the program. So basically what happens is you apply with adult Medicaid, and if you're not already a full Medicaid recipient, they assess your assets and everything like that. And then they send a referral to me. I am the case manager, and I go into the homes to do assessments. One thing that you also have to have for this program is you have to have a form called an FL2. And this is just one single sheet of paper, is something your doctor fills out, and it tells us what level of care they recommend. That is required for the program and required every year to get a new one. So when you apply, the person in Medicaid, they give me a referral form, and I call and we schedule a time for me to come out. So I do the home piece and the case management piece. I'll come to the home, assess the home. If I have any concerns for your safety, if I feel like there are needs that aren't being met, I'll assess your strengths, just everything to get an overview of your life, what you already have in place, maybe what do we need in place. And I have to be able to say, yes, I feel this person is safe. And if you're also approved for the Medicaid piece, then I put you on my caseload and you start getting that monthly supplement. So for case management, I am required to do monthly phone calls just to check in. Hey, how's everything going? Just to kind of keep tabs to make sure everything's okay. And then also I'm required to come out every 3 months to the home to assess and again, assure that you continue to be safe. And that just means, because sometimes things happen and maybe what worked previously, that doesn't work now. Like our needs changed, our mobility changed, and we just need to implement new things. And I create a service plan with goals that I work with my clients if I feel like there are areas that we can improve on and we work together to continue to keep them safe in the home. If at any time I feel like your needs can no longer be met, or maybe the goals we're working on to keep you safe in the home, you're not putting things in place to continue that safety, I do have to terminate those services. Now, if you're terminated from the program, you can reapply at any time. You also have to be in the home. So say you have a fall, you go into the hospital for a couple weeks, they say, hey, we want to do rehab for a few weeks. If you're absent from your home for more than 30 days, I have to terminate because you have to be in the home. But, and I've had that happen, people, when they go back home, they reapply, we get them back in there and keep it going. And every year you have to do a reassessment, and you have to get, where Medicaid will look at your assets again, make sure nothing's changed, and get that doctor's note, that FL2, to make sure your level of care has not changed. So it's just a way for us to work together to keep people that want to be in their home, but also make sure that we're safely doing that. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, when I go out for that initial visit, which most people have voicemail, and the lady in Medicaid, she will let you know, hey, I'm going to make this referral. A case manager is going to get in touch with you because she has to come out to the home. And then you and I will develop a relationship. I'll give you my card, save my number, because it works both ways. I want you to, if something's going on and maybe you need assistance, to reach out to me. And I'll be your ongoing case manager unless something changes. So usually my people, a lot of them know my number by heart, or they have it saved in their phone. Anybody else? Okay, thank you guys.
Everybody familiar with football lingo? I'm going to call an audible. And since we're rolling right along, I wanted to give everybody a 10-minute break. You want to go to the restroom, go get another cookie, go visit all the lovely tables, and then come on back and hear the last two speakers. That would be lovely. So we'll see you in 10 minutes. right, everybody. Thank you. Do you like the lights off and on, like in the old theater days? I grew up in New York and we used to go to Radio City Music Hall and I was like, what is that? It was so exciting. The show is about to begin. So anyway, thank you for having that audible going out and visiting the tables and talking with people, getting an extra cookie or running to the restroom. And so next up is Sarah Villa, and she's going to be speaking to you, and she is mighty tall, so we might have to adjust the microphone here.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Sarah. Most of you may have known me if you've seen me speak before. You've met me because my facilities are back there watching me right now. You've known me as Sarah Richardson, but I recently went back to my maiden name, so I am Sarah Vi now. So you'll see if you... I am tall. All right. Is this better? All right. So as far as Moore County DSS goes, I am a social worker 3. But as far as my position in APS goes, I am the adult home specialist. So in that position, part of what I do is facility monitorings and complaints. So the facility monitorings are, so our year starts in July and ends in June. So every quarter starting in June, the DHSR has assigned a rural area that we have to monitor each quarter. It's 1 per quarter at this time. It used to be more than that. So they determine what they want us to look at, what we're having the most problems, or what they're seeing the most problems in facilities in all of the state of North Carolina. And then all adult home specialists in the state of North Carolina have to monitor the same things in all of their facilities. So the facilities that I monitor are assisted living facilities and family care homes. So the assisted living facilities, mine happen to have memory cares as well. Not all assisted livings do, but all of mine do. I do have 11 facilities total. Of those facilities, I have 7 that are the larger facilities that have the memory care, and then I have 4 that are family care homes, which are 6 or less residents. The max is 6, so they can't have more than that. So for every single one of all 11 of these facilities, I do have to go out every quarter. It is not always all in the same month. It's spread out between the 3 months and the quarter, but they are seen every quarter. So if I have to go out there more often than that, it is because I have received a complaint on the facility. So if you call, whether you call DHSR, their intake line, or you call me, or our intake line, that report on if the facility is one that we're assigned to, then that report does come to us with the with all of the complaint allegations. If it comes from DHSR, they tell me what rural areas that I have to look at based on what they see in the report. Otherwise, my supervisor and I, we discuss what's in the complaint, and we determine what rural areas are best investigated during that time. At the end of my complaints, if I cannot find proof of what they've been accused of, then of course it would close, but I would continue to monitor those areas to make sure it does not become a problem or I don't find something later. If we do find something, they are given what we call a CAR, a corrective action report. So the levels for that are a standard, which is that stays at the county level. They're not fined for that. They get this big long form and they have to tell me how they're going to fix it, and they have to. The way they fix it has to be appropriate. So we do get to check that, and they do have to. They don't just hand something back to me saying, "Oh, we're going to fix it," like with our magic wand, and and I have to accept it. No, it has to be appropriate for what the allegations are in the CAR. And so the levels for that are the standard, a B, an A1, or the highest is an A2. If there is an A2, that means a death occurred in the facility. So we do have 60 business days to complete those complaints. We try not to take that long, especially if it's something very, very So another thing that I do is placement services. So like the mobilizing services at the end of an evaluation, an APS evaluation, these services can be offered, but unlike the mobilizing services, this is actually an elective service that you can call at any time and request. So you don't have to have the assessment first. If you have a loved one or you want placement, all you have to do is call me. We have some paperwork we do have to fill out just to make sure I have the appropriate consents. If you are the power of attorney or guardian over somebody and you would like placement, then it would be you also that calls me, and we'll fill out the paperwork, and we'll determine what steps still need to happen for that placement to happen. So one of the things I do like people to have before they call and request placement services is that FL2 form that Ms. Emily mentioned earlier. It does have to be filled out by your primary care doctor, and it has to be within 30 days of placement. And then annual following that, but the annual ones are usually completed by the facility. And you also need to have at least one TB test. So the reason that I request that those things are completed before you call me is because we will put people in services and we will start with that step, and then they don't want to do it, and I don't hear from them ever again. And then they stop answering my phone calls. And so it just kind of becomes complicated after that. So it's usually better if you have those two things when you call me. If you don't have the form or you have questions about the form, you don't have to be in services to call me and ask me. Okay, you just give me a call and I'm happy to explain things to you. If you want to try and give it a go on your own, but you need some resources or a little bit of guidance, you can always call me for that too. You don't have to be in services for me to answer questions. So one thing that is kind of misconstrued sometimes is that the person does have to want the placement services. I cannot force anybody to go to placement. It does not matter if I agree with their decision or not. And I will very much try to sweet talk them into going if it's what's needed. But if they choose not to, I cannot force them to. Another thing I do is I do outreaches like Miss Emily, and I do what's called unclaimed bodies. So if 10 days have passed from the day of somebody's passing, and there is no family to claim that person or have their remains processed, and it doesn't have to be a family member. It could be a friend, a longtime friend. It could be a girlfriend. It could be, if I cannot find anybody, first it starts with the 10 days. If the person who has the remains at that time, whether it be the hospital or a funeral home, if 10 days have passed and they are not able to find anybody, or they did find somebody but that person stopped talking to them for at least 5 days, they were non-responsive. If the commissioner of anatomy says no, who we also have to contact in the event that they want the person for the school so that they can study. If all of those efforts end with somebody still not having somebody to claim them, or they don't have the money to claim them, then Moore County DSS gets involved. We see if we can find anybody different from what's already been found and try to contact them. We do give them a reasonable amount of time to respond. And then we work with whoever we're contracted with. At this time, we're contracted with the Pines, who's back there. So I will call Mr. Randy Huzzy at the Pines and let him know, we've taken an unclaimed body, and he goes and picks them up for me. And then he and I stay in contact. And if I don't have anybody, then of course we process it. So now if way down the line, somebody comes out the woodwork, any amount of time down the line, to be honest, and they contact us and say, hey, I heard this person passed away. Well, they're my best friend, or we served in the military together, or that was my dad. I've had that. Then the process from that point is that they would at least have to reimburse the county for the money that we put into it. So that's our part of the policy. So the funeral home, so they may have a policy for that too. So for some of the funeral homes that we've worked with, you have to reimburse them for the cost of which you would have had to pay had we not been involved. Okay, and then we get reimbursed, and then we can release the remains to you. We try not to, it's very sad when we have those. We say a little prayer over them, but otherwise they are kept at the funeral home usually. And then that's about all I do at the moment. I do have one guardianship case, but yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Yes, ma'am. They're required to report to the ombudsman. I mean, they do report resident right issues to the ombudsman, and then yes, they're supposed to let the ombudsman come in if she requires a visit for a resident there. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. Oh, yes, ma'am. Indefinitely, as far as I know. Yeah, it's usually historically when I've asked, it's usually a tomb. Like, how they have the tomb of the unknown soldiers. It's kind of like a tomb for them. Yeah. I'm a military brat. Sorry for the military references. Does anybody else have questions? Okay. I will also be here in the back if you need me, and I have cards as well that have my correct last name and my old last name. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you with any facility questions you might have. Yes. So the next person is Ms. Mary Dunlap with Adult Medicaid. Oh, I'm sorry. And Ms. Ashley Burnett? Barnhart. I was close.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Dunlap. I am an income maintenance caseworker for the Department of Social Services in the Medicaid unit. And this is my supervisor, Ashley Barnhart. We're here today to educate you just a little bit on adult Medicaid and the different types of Medicaid programs we offer. And in the bags that we have on our tables, there are Medicaid fact sheets with the particular guidelines, the income limits, and the resource limits. There's four or more ways to apply. You can apply in person, you can mail in an application, you can call us up, and we now have the option to do a voice signature, and you can apply on the DHHS website. Application period is usually 45 days. It can vary up to 90 depending on which program you are applying for. And all Medicaid programs are income-based. There are different income limits for each program, and income is defined as any source, whether it's earned or unearned. And for all Medicaid programs, your resources cannot exceed $2,000 for a single individual, $3,000 for a couple. Resources are cash value of life insurance, any vehicles. You're entitled to have one vehicle and one home site. Any vehicle over one, that value is counted towards your resource limit. Bank accounts, stocks, bonds, annuities, retirement accounts, and excess home and land. So all those are counted towards the resource limits. We have our first program we're going to discuss is the Medicaid for the aged. In order to receive Medicaid in the state of North Carolina, you must be a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident that's been in the state of North Carolina, well, been in the States for 5 years. And not receiving Medicaid in any other state and be eligible for income and the resource limit. The first program is Medicaid for the aged, which is a program that provides many services, such as it helps pay for your doctor's visits, prescription drug plans if you don't have a Medicare prescription drug plan. It helps pay for durable medical equipment, chiropractor, podiatrist, ophthalmologist, just to name a few. The program can also help pay for your Medicare premium. If you're responsible for Medicare premium and you are eligible for full coverage Medicaid, we will pay that premium for you each month. And it will also cover your Medicare deductible if you're in the hospital. It was around $1,200, give or take. The amounts do change. The next program we're going to discuss is long-term care. If you're needing to go to a nursing home, the program provides assistance with cost of care in a nursing home. Once approved for Medicaid, all of your income except $70 will go to the facility to go toward your cost of care. Medicaid will then pay that amount. There's really no set income limit for long-term care nursing home because it's kind of hard. It can't exceed the Medicaid, the facility's private rate. So if the facility charges $200 a day, there's 30 days in the month. As long as your income doesn't exceed that $6,000, you would be eligible for long-term care Medicaid. And then what Emily and Sarah both talked about, my particular job is I am the special assistance worker for the county. So if you're needing to go to assisted living, you can give me a call and make an appointment. You can come in. That's for special assistance, you are required to come in person and apply. It requires a face-to-face interview. And what that is we supplement your income to pay your room and board so that you can remain in a facility. At the end of each month, you'll be given $90. You do have to pay your medicine copays, but we do for regular upfront, which is just a regular assisted living part, and also the memory care unit. If somebody comes in and they apply and they are going to a memory care, I do have to send Ms. Sarah Vi out to verify that they are in the memory care unit. And then we also have the special assistance in-home program, which is a supplement to your income to keep you safe in your home. And that program is, last year they changed it where the income limit actually went up to $1,355. And now if you used to have to be eligible for Medicaid to get the special assistance in-home program. Now, if you're eligible for the special assistance in-home program, it opens the door for you to get full coverage Medicaid. So when you come in and do an application with me, I'm going to let Emily Lauder know that y'all came in, you applied, and she's going to come out, visit with you. Make sure that you're receiving all the services that you're entitled to, which would be transportation services, personal care services, to make sure that you are able to be in your home safely. And with this program, we have really been able to do great things. We've been able to help clients modify their bathrooms with their monthly payments that they get. They put roofs on their houses, heating and air. And some of them, it may just be simple as giving them the money to use as a supplement to supplement their income so that they're able to have a more nutritious meal. And we have, it also helps pay for additional personal care services. So you're going to be able to get personal care services, which is having a nurse come in your house, whether it be a couple times a week or every day for a couple hours, to come out there and help you. And then if you need more care than that, the special assistance payment could be used to pay someone in addition to come out. The next program we're going to talk about, I'm going to actually help me a little bit, especially if y'all have questions, is the Medicare Savings Program. And what this program is it is a program designed to help you pay for your Medicare Part B plan. Payments of the Medicare Part B premium is the only thing you receive from this. You don't receive a Medicaid card. The certification period is for 1 year, and we can go back 3 months prior to you applying. So when you first apply and you're approved, they're going to continue taking your Medicare premium out of your check for around 2 months. But eventually, Social Security will reimburse you that 2 months back, and they'll start paying. We will start paying your Medicare B plan. So you will no longer be responsible for that Medicare B plan. And the income limits on that are a little bit higher than traditional Medicaid, and the resource limits are also higher. Oh, I have them here. Yeah. And they're all in the fact sheet on our bags on the back table. But right now, the income limit for the Medicare prescription plan is $1,255 to $1,506 for an individual, $1,704 to $1,244 for a couple. Your resources cannot exceed $10,590 for individual, $16,630 for a couple. If y'all ever have any questions and you think you may be eligible, give us a call. We'll be more happy to help you go over it if you got a question like, well, I have this, and just to see if you may be eligible. I mean, that's what we're here for. We want to be able to help y'all. And anybody have any questions? Yes, sure.
Services that we provide here is Medicare savings programs. We provide through our SHIP program, which is Seniors Health Insurance Information Program. So we work in concert with each other, because if someone goes in and gets approved for the Medicare savings program to pay for your Part B premium, you automatically qualify for a free drug plan. What that means is, it doesn't mean you pay for all your drugs for free. You don't have to pay a fee to an insurance company each month for your premium, but it automatically lowers the prices of your drugs. This flyer is on our table, and on the back, it describes both programs, and the front is asking about, can you pay for your medicine? A generic drug with this program is, you're not going to pay any more than $5. It goes anywhere from 0 to 5 for generic drugs. And then for a brand name drug, you're not going to pay any more than $10 for your brand name drug. So with the savings of not having to pay your Part B premium, and the savings of not having to pay for a drug premium, and then not having to pay for so much of your medications, that helps people get along. And I can't believe how many people have come to us over the years in their 70s and 80s who could have qualified for both of these programs. But because they get letters in the mail from Social Security, and sometimes you get the letters from the government, and it's like you need a law degree to understand what the letter is. So what we do here is we also help decipher what letters mean, because a lot of times, we've been doing this for a while, and we'll get the letters and it takes us a few times, or we'll call somebody from DSS and say, can you describe or explain exactly what this form means? Because I don't understand the wording. And if I can't understand the wording, and I've been doing this for 10 and a half years, I could only imagine someone who's new to Medicare or had Medicare for so long and can't understand it. So these two programs are fabulous, and they are for everybody. Everyone sees Joe Namath, and everyone thinks you just have to know Joe Namath or get on an Advantage plan to have these programs, and you don't. These programs have been around a lot longer than Joe Namath describing Advantage plans. So that's just my little 2-cent pitch. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
So my mother's in a dementia care, and our money's going out like water, and my house power. So could I make this difference with the money?
Yes, ma'am. As long as you're the power of attorney, authorized rep, or legal guardian, you can apply on her behalf. And if you don't have any of them three, we can send you what's called an authorized representative plan, authorized representative form. And if she's able to sign that, that would give you permission to be able to apply on her behalf. Right. So, yeah, so power of attorney is the best route for that one. Mhm. Any other questions? Well, if y'all think about questions, our cards, we have them. We'll be at the back table. We have all of our fact sheets are in the bags in the back. Be sure you grab them. If you think you may qualify, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to go through it with you. Okay? Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you.
That's it for our speakers today, but we do have door prizes, so don't go. The fun is just about to begin. So for anybody, lovely sponsors who brought a door prize, if you want to come on up with your door prize, we'll go ahead and start giving them away. Thank you very much. Okay, so when we made the list of all of you lovely attendees today, a number appears when I was putting them all in the database. So that's how we're doing it, is my lovely lady here is going to be picking numbers, and I will, here, this, hold my hand. you're going to pick a number, and I'm going to tell the audience who it is that won the first prize, which is a lovely chair from Fox Hollow.
For summertime, it's almost summertime, and sit out.
Woohoo! Yes, number 3. Now, if only these were in numerical order. Here you go. Francesca Kettleman. Yay! And you match the bag. Okay, and the next gift is from Veronica at Home Choice Network, and gets another number, 10. Let's see who 10 is. Oh, Pat Marogue. Pat Marogue, yay! All right, next up we have Shelley with Brookdale Senior Living, and that's a lovely looking basket. What's another number? 18, that's my favorite number. It's Jim Onrude. Is Jim here? Jim must have left early. Uh-oh, you got to be in it to win it. Oh, is he here? Yay! I like it when at least one man wins something. We very rarely get the men winning things. Well, thank you all so much for coming. I hope you learned a lot, enjoyed yourself, and made some new friends. So thank you very much and hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Thank you again to our sponsors.